my nation's territory. So let's just get that clear right now. A lot of us, we're not from these names that they call British Columbia or Canada. We're from our territories and our names in our original language. I am the Gayakono, the Haudenosaunee. We are also known as Onkwehowe in our language, which means the originals. And before I start off with some of the words I'd like to share with you and some of the knowledge and information that I share with many people, I'd like to start this off with a song for everybody. And because it's they're giving away salmon and we're talking about all the fish, I'm going to do a fish song. Oh, you want me to do another one? You guys want another song? I gotta speak too, right? So just to keep this kind of moving along, my main study is the sovereignty, contract law, treaties. I study many things in this area. I've been in the court, I've been in front of judges, I've spoken to police officers. I've done lots of research. I've done a few years of these research, and I've just got a few things to share with everybody here. Because there's a lot of ignorance going on right now, and it's none of our faults because ignorance is promoted. You know, the whole ignorance is bliss. You know, people celebrate being ignorant, and it's not something that we should be celebrating. It's just something that we should be really promoting and trying to really get educated on the true history and what's really going on. I come to understand that one of my chiefs, the Cayuga chief, he went over to Geneva, he went over to England, he met with the king and queen back in the 1920s. And in one of his letters that he wrote back home, he spoke about Canada, and he spoke about this, what they call an imperial government. And he didn't understand who Canada was because the imperial government is the Queen's government, whom we made treaties with, who are all these nations here, that unceded territories and the ones who have made treaties and contracts. He didn't know who they were. Canada was substituted. Somehow there was a switch that happened a long time ago. I'm not sure how many people may even noticed it, but Canada used to be the Hudson Bay Company. It used to have other corporate names. I found documents that says Canada Company on it that shows you that Canada is actually a corporation no better than Walmart. And we need to be aware that we're dealing with a corporation, we're not dealing with a government. They dance around with a mask. And if you look up an actor's face mask, it's called a persona, or a person. And why do you think they like to push that word person on everybody? Because they want you to be a person. They push the word citizenship because they want you to be on their ship. They've been fooling everybody all these years to be a citizen of Canada, when really, in fact, the word citizen in their language really means employee. You're an employee of the government, of the corporation that they call Canada. Not many people know this information, but it's very blunt. It's in your face. If you go look up the U.S. Securities Exchange, you'll see that Canada is registered there as a corporation. And they pass all kinds of bonds and stuff like that to make all this fictional plastic money that's fake. So the whole point of that is we got to be aware of who we're dealing with here. We think that they're our government. We think that they're the people from the Queen that we made treaties with, when in fact Canada wasn't even, a thought at the time when our treaties were made. It didn't exist. If you're a Canadian citizen, then you're not someone who has treaty rights. If you have Canadian ID, you don't have any treaty rights or any rights, because now you've contracted your way out of your own treaty rights and your own rights to your original land, because you've agreed through contract and signing up to be a Canadian. And that's why Canada sits back and laughs at everybody, saying, "Oh, look at all our employees wanting treaty rights. They didn't sign no treaty." Canadians were not there in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s signing and making agreements. There's no such thing as being a Canadian citizen. We are citizens of our original nation and our original language and our original territory. Canada knows that. If you look up the Land Survey Act, they tell you the lands that are of the Queen in Canada, the Land Survey Act shows that you're not even in Canada right now. None of the provinces are listed as being part of Canadian soil. So, who are we? Who are you? That's the question we always get asked in law when we go to court. Who are you? If you don't know the English language, it's time to start looking up and picking up a dictionary and picking up an etymology, the history of each word that's being used. Because we look up words like as and in and right of. The Queen in right of Canada. The Queen in right of means not away, and all these words mean that there's nothing going on, that she's not really anything. So at some point we got to start really looking at standing up our own governments, standing up our own way of forming government and IDs and our own citizenship, and get off their ship and get back in our canoe. We need to stop benefiting, because every time you take a benefit, you're agreeing to a contract. So we need to create our own benefit. These are our resources, our lands that we're here to share with all our other nations. Because remember, not only are we original to these lands, but everybody else who isn't from these lands, you guys are original to somewhere on this planet. So you're native as well to somewhere else. So you need to stand with our native people from this side of the planet and help us save the water, the air, the land, our people, our children, our future. And just one last thing, maybe turn to your left and give somebody a handshake or a hug. Get to know these people that are around you, that are listening, that are uniting together. If we're all going to unite and be friends, let's turn to our left and give a handshake, get to know, find out who they are. Let's all just not say hi to while we're at the rally. Let's actually get to know one another. Let's actually be friends. Let's unite. Let's become one big confederacy. We should unite as original nations. All our nations should unite, not just our original nations here, but all the other nations that are coming here and residing on our lands. We've welcomed you, but we don't welcome this government that dances around like that's a corporation that pretends to be a government. It's not our government. I don't know who they are, but they've been substituted for the government that was supposed to be here under treaty law. So understand and recognize who you really are. Who are you? That's the question you got to ask yourself. You're not Canadian, because when you're Canadian, you don't have treaty rights. Thank you, and Yamagoa.